Welcome to Secrets of the Stars, where we explore the ancient knowledge of astrology, decode your unique blueprint, and unveil how the wisdom of the sky contributes to your life. I'm your host, Abby Lutis, astrologer, mentor, and sky guide. It's time to embark on a cosmic adventure of self-discovery and understanding why you are the way you are. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to Secrets of the Stars. I hope you are doing really well as we are moving through the very last month of the year and Sagittarius season. This is a time when things really start to quicken up, I suppose, as we head into the holiday season. And I have been house sitting up on the Sunshine Coast. I actually have been recovering because I really got hit down last weekend, not the one just been, the one before that, and it really knocked me about. I just had the biggest fever and I really could not function at all, and it's really meant that I couldn't go and do my workouts, and everything in my life just had to stop. And I really think this is an important message, and for me, I can see astrologically why this is happening to me. I have the sun moving through my 12th house, which is always asking me to rest and rejuvenate and take care of myself. And if I ever push too hard during this time, this is what happens to me. So I really need to make a mental note to step back and take a chill, even more so when the sun is moving through Sagittarius season. And I know that come Capricorn season, I'm going to bounce back up. So I'm already on the way. I'm reaching for the Capricorn season. I'm so excited. It's dropping in about a week's time. Next week, I'm going to be coming on here and chatting all about Capricorn season. I'm going to give a bit of a forecast, but not a lot has been happening in my world, but I have actually been creating some reports and readings for 2024, which is so exciting. I actually have 2 offers for 2024 if people are wanting to get a deeper look, a more personalized look at how the astrology is going to be impacting them in 2024. I have 2 offers for you. The first is really the deluxe offering. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And in this deluxe reading, I will be giving you throughout the year 4 3-month forecast readings, which give you the opportunity to get an indication of what is coming in the next 3 months of your life. You can ask for guidance on specific areas, and I can tailor what it is that you are curious to know about. So you get 4 of those throughout the year. On top of that, you get my 15-page astrology report, which is a really beautiful overview. I look at what astrology is significant for you and how it is going to be impacting you in 2024. I take a deep dive into the Time Lord, your Time Lord planet, which really indicates which planet you can focus on when it comes to astrology, because there is always so much astrology happening and it doesn't always have a really big impact on us. But if we know our Time Lord planet, often this is the planet that is having the strongest impact in our charts. So that 15-page report is just so detailed. I give you specific dates. You can plan them all out in your diary and really work with them in a practical way. The second offer is essentially just the report, the 15-page report. So if you are looking to use astrology in a more practical way and gain insights into 2024, you can find the link in the show notes to get your 2024 reports and readings. Well, today I really wanted to circle back and talk all about natal charts, because I have spoken a lot about forecasting charts, and I have done a little comparison, and I spoke to my dear friend Crystal about her forecast report, but I really wanted to go back to basics. For anyone who hasn't really had any readings before, this is where I recommend starting. And if you've had your natal chart read before, or it's also known as the birth chart, I highly encourage you to keep listening to this episode, because there are so many little gems of wisdom that you might pick out of this, and you might pick up something new. So keep listening as I go through all the ins and outs and the basics of a natal chart. So I'm going to be talking today about the planets, the signs, the houses, and the aspects, and what they all mean in relation to your natal chart. All right, so let's back it up and have a look at the natal chart diagram. It's really a map of the sky from the moment that you took your first breath. And this map in astrology represents the energies that you bring into the world. And it's the different archetypes and personalities, characteristics that you have, and how and where they're going to play out strongest in your life. So the natal chart includes planets, significant points, signs, houses, and aspects. There is actually so much more that you can find in the natal chart, and there is so much you can do with the natal chart, but we're just going to focus on the basics to start with, because having a good foundational understanding of all of these areas will really help you in learning how to read and understand your own natal chart. And I have been practicing astrology for nearly 5 years now, and I still find new things in my natal chart. I still find lessons and things about myself that I can really use. And so it really is an ongoing discovery, the deeper that you dive and the more that you can find. There is also so many different ways that a natal chart can look, and I use the circular format, and so I'll be speaking about that in this episode. Now, looking at the natal chart can seem to be quite daunting at first, because we do see a bunch of symbols, a bunch of different colors, lines going everywhere, and it can really seem quite overwhelming. But I like to think of it like this. If you think of the middle point of the chart is us here on Earth, and then from there, the chart is divided into signs and houses. Then we add the planets. These are the little symbols that you see on the inside of the wheel within the chart. And then we can have a look at the lines going through the chart, and these represent the different aspects or angles of the planets that they make to one another. You might notice the numbers, which are the degree points where the planets are situated. We don't need to sort of go too much into detail in the numbers or the degree points at this moment, but this really gives us specifics as to what point that planet or that point was sitting in the sky. So let's take a look more deeply at the planets and the significant points and what they mean in our chart. So in natal astrology, I like to think of the planets as the different archetypes or the different characters, the different performers in our lives. And I like to describe astrology or the natal chart as a really good analogy as a stage play. And if we look at our chart, the planets represent the different characters that we play. And then it's all the different characteristics that they are responsible for. So as an example, we might play out in the mother role. We might play out as the friend or the lover or the daughter or the child. And these can all be found in the different planets. So we have the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And these all have different archetypes and they represent different things. And that is another episode that I will go into all of the planets and what they represent. But for now, you can look at the natal chart and know that each of the planets represents a different personality within yourself. Then we can look at the different points, and these are things like the ascendant or the midheaven or the nodes. Now, the points are not physical things in the solar system. They are just points in space, and they are very significant points. For example, the ascendant point, the ascendant degree point, is the point that was on the eastern horizon the moment that you took your first breath, and it is said to be the point, or it was the point that was rising, the gifts that you were rising with. And so the other points have similar significance. That's why they are so important in the natal chart. And so whilst points are not, physical things out in the sky, they hold a very strong, empowering energy in your natal chart. So as I said, these different archetypes, these different planetary energies together make up your bigger personality of who you are, depending on where they fall in the natal chart. And it gives you an understanding of the qualities you have. Now, I've really only talked about the planets and a few of the different points, but you can imagine the different combinations, the variety of different combinations is almost endless, because only really the people that were born at the exact same point in time and place as you are probably going to have the same natal chart as you. And even then they would play out different qualities of each of those planets and signs. All right, next we have the zodiac signs. So in our stage play analogy, if we look at the zodiac signs, we will always find a planet and a point sitting within a sign. And so I like to see, or in my stage play analogy, I like to say that the zodiac signs are the different costumes that your performers wear. They are the different flavors that your personalities are flavored with, for example. So if we are looking at the chart, the zodiac sign symbols sit on the outside of the circle, and they're divided into 12 different signs, which we know a lot about: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and so on, which again, I will go into depth into the signs in another episode. But what I want to say is that every single person contains every single sign and the qualities of those signs within them. And, as I mentioned, I like to describe the signs as the different characters that flavor our personality. And really, it's a blend of the archetype, the blend of the sign archetype blended with the planet or point. And you can start to get an understanding of how this personality is playing out for you. So we all have every single sign within us, but we might not have planets in that sign, or we might not have points in that sign. That doesn't mean that we don't have those qualities within us. There is another way that we can see and understand how those signs and the energies of those signs are impacting our life. So know that if you see your chart and you don't have anything in Aries, I guarantee you there is something there, and there is a way to activate that energy. Next of all, we'll look at the houses in astrology, and this can also be known as the places or the lots. Now, I find the houses really interesting, and I find that people are also very intrigued by the houses. Now, they can be seen on the inside of the circular chart, numbered 1 to 12, and the houses represent the different areas in your life in which things play out. Any area of your life has a place in the house system. Now, in my stage play analogy, I like to refer to the houses as the different stages that the performers in their costumes are playing out on. So when I say different stages, what I mean is the stage of their home or their health or their relationships or their career. Anything in your life will fit anywhere into the house system. There are so many different house systems in astrology, and all with different reasons and theories behind them. And you can refer to episode 4 to understand a little bit more about the house systems. But for now, know that I use whole sign house system, and it's what I use and what I will talk about the most on this podcast. And so whole sign house system is really a simplified way, as well as being one of the most ancient ways, or one of the oldest house systems that has been used. And essentially the whole sign house system fits equally with the signs, essentially. So if your rising sign is in Capricorn, your entire first house will be in Capricorn. So then on from there, the second house will be entirely Aquarius, and so on as we go around the chart. So as we blend in the areas of our life, of the areas of the house system with the qualities of the sign, you can understand how you're going to start to show up in that area of your life. For an example, if you have the sun sign, the sun is the character of your spirit. So it's your true spirit, your identity, where you hold your power. I mean, it has a myriad of different keywords that we can use to describe the sun, but essentially it is your truth, who you have come here to be in this lifetime. So that is a type of your personality. It is one section of your personality, a very big section of your personality, by the way, and that's why it holds so much weight. Now, you can have a look at where the sun falls in your chart, which sign. So if you have a look at that sign, you will see how your spirit, how your truth is flavored. What are the qualities that are strong? And there's light qualities and there's shade qualities. Next, you can have a look at the house system, and you can see what house is this character with all these beautiful characteristics. Where is this playing out most strongly in my life? And you can start to get a feel for how that planet shows up in your natal chart. Finally, let's have a look at the aspects, and you'll be able to see the aspects by the different colored lines that run through the middle of your circular chart. And in natal astrology, the aspects are the relationships that the planets have with one another. The angles they create to one another determine their relationship with each other. So aspect relationships can be harmonizing. These harmonizing aspects are normally colored with a blue line, and they can also be challenging or tense, which is colored with a red line. And then you'll also see different colored lines like green and maybe purple. And then, these relationships can be of different, different ways of interacting with one another. So if you have a tense relationship with your sun and moon, maybe they don't see eye to eye. You might have this spirit that is not exactly connecting with the way that you see yourself. This is what the moon is representing. All right. So this is how we interpret the aspects. Perhaps you have your Mercury, which is representing communication, in a harmonious aspect with Jupiter, which is expansion and abundance. So you can use your communication skills to really call in opportunities, call in abundance, and, create the magical life for yourself. Now, if we go back to our stage play analogy, the aspects are the relationships that the different characters have with one another. I think that, feels quite easy now that I've explained all about what aspects will mean. And there are many different aspects and angles in astrology, and I like to stick with the strong main aspects, which we have the conjunction. This is when two planets are together in the chart. They essentially share the same degree. There's the opposition. We have the trine aspect, the square aspect, and the sextile aspect. So they're the 6 aspects that I generally use and pull from. There are many different other aspects and angles, but we're talking about the basics, so I don't want to get too over the top here. So that is a really just a summary of the natal chart. And let me go over it again for you in my stage play analogy. So we have, first of all, our planets. They represent the different characters of our life, the different ways that we act out in our life. These characters are flavored by the signs, that it's the different costumes that they wear. So maybe these characters they're very bold or outgoing, or they could be shy or intimidated. Then the houses represent the different stages where these characters perform. All right, so they could perform in the home, in the career, in your health, in your relationships, and so on. And finally, the angles. The angles represent the way the different characters get along with one another. So I hope that is making sense for you. Now, I want to finish up by saying that astrology is really a symbolic language informed by nature, and combining all of these elements and symbols together in the chart, you can interpret a chart. So once you understand the depths of the understandings of the different planets, the signs, the houses, the angles, you can really start to combine all of this knowledge and have your own language for astrology. Astrology is just a language, and learning to interpret it to understand yourself a little deeper is what I help you to do. So I know at first this might seem complex, but with time you really can develop a wide vocabulary to really understand how to interpret the language of astrology. It just takes practice, and it just takes starting. And once you start and you dive in, it really is endless. There is so much that you can learn from the wisdom of the stars. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you're interested in having your natal chart read, this is where I recommend you start with astrology. It's going to give you a really good foundational understanding of yourself. Once you've had your natal chart read, then you can go on and look deeper into forecasting readings. And yes, if you are interested in a forecast reading for 2024, my books are open. Please check out the links in the notes below. You can also find all the details on my website, abbylutis.com. You can find me on Instagram, Stars by Abby. I have also just started a Twitter account, which is so much fun. You can also find me there at Stars by Abby. But until next time, next week, I'll be sharing with you all about the Capricorn energies, what's coming in for the start of next year. I'm so excited for this. But until then, keep shining bright. Thank you for joining me on this cosmic journey of self-discovery. If you have enjoyed this episode, please leave a review and share it with someone who you think would love it. Keep exploring the secrets of the stars, and remember, the universe has woven a unique story just for you. Until next time, keep shining bright.